Champion up north.
Hello again, welcome to Champion Up North TV. I'm Adam. Today I'm here with Christian from CentralBeatz. So when did you start CentralBeatz?
Pretty much when I first got to Leeds. I'm sure a lot of people that do music and stuff around here probably came here to do uni or something, and I just basically got involved with the student radio, and I set up the radio show on LSR, and then within a year or two I'd met a few people and we started up the night.
Am I right in thinking you had a sound system back then?
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, it started off in Jay's basement, and what started off as just like a kind of sub and a couple of speakers, just like, oh, let's go and buy this, and just like rinsing credit.
Let's get another speaker,
yeah.
Let's get another sound.
And I was like, get more mixes and get more CDJs. And we were doing the club night at mine then, and the venue was brand new, and that was in the student union. We thought, well, it's bass, you need lots of bass, so we started adding in more and more subs. And when you assume that one sub is really good and then you hear it against another one that you heard somewhere else, you're like, no, that ain't good enough, so you're always like replacing it. So yeah, it was like a sound system, more of like an elaborate PA that would reinforce the sound there, and it did the music justice as well, which is what we needed mainly.
So you're at mine, you started out, that's where you started out?
That's where we started out the night. That's, I guess, where a lot of us sort of helped to hone our skills. I mean, I was doing the odd gig around and about in different cities, and that like Newcastle, Glasgow, and basically, yeah, I mean, a few other people would come along with me to do gigs out and about, and then CentralBeatz became the home. Other DJs that we'd met from other cities, they would come and guest as well. So there's this good community going on, and it drew everything together. Then radio come along, radio frequency. That was really pivotal in kind of getting more and more people involved. The guys did a CentralBeatz show on a Friday. I did like my own show on a Sunday. So we had pretty good representation there. But again, if we had any DJs up for the weekend, we could get them on board for that. And there was something really wholesome about it. People you might not have considered getting involved with, you'd have met through the radio, and then the next minute they're DJing on the night. So there was a lot of traffic coming in and out, and a lot of music being played. That was good.
So why was there the break when you ended it at Leeds Union?
Yeah, well, a lot of the other guys, I mean, they're getting busy doing what they wanted to do, and I was thinking about moving to London. So I felt the pressure. I didn't think I could keep it going on my own. It was just simply too much to do. I always thought if you're going to do it, you may as well do it full on. There's no point doing it half-assed. But then I decided to stay in Leeds, and I thought, well, if I'm here in Leeds, I'm going to do the night. But then I also need to kind of reinvigorate it and get some new blood involved, which is what I've been working on. It's all about getting, not just the guests that we're fond of in terms of, artists that are quite well established, but also combining that and creating a platform for other local DJs and producers as well that are obviously, looking to get involved with playing out and get some experience. And
You're trying to create like quite a community. Yeah,
well, that's essentially how the night started, and I think that's a really important thing about the event itself. I see lineups in Leeds where they've, massive parties, big guest DJs, but there's very little in terms of, opportunities for local DJs or anybody that lives in the area, and I think that why not combine the two with our thing.
Why did you choose Beat Bar for the relaunch?
So we wanted to find something a little bit more underground and a bit newer. The Function One sound system probably sold it more than anything.
Yeah.
Because having sold the sound system, since stopping the event, we were thinking, well, we need to get somewhere with a bit of boot to it, a bit of heaviness to the sound. So I think that summarised the sort of like what we were looking for, and plus other venues just seemed a little bit too smart or maybe a bit too big. We didn't want to take too much on board because what we're doing is a fairly niche thing.
Yeah. Beat Bar's got a nice dark vibe as well, which matches the music, I think.
When I spoke to the owner, Ram, his vision was sort of similar to what I would see a good club being. He just said, I've got this room, I've gutted it out, I've just given it a lick of paint, and I spent pretty much all the money I had on the sound system. And I thought that's a really good ethic to have. It's just focus on the sound.
Music focus.
Exactly, yeah, and then just work from there,
I noticed the last CentralBeatz was sort of a meet-up for an online drum and bass group.
Yeah.
So how's that make you feel?
Like that thread, this What's Drum and Bass thing is brilliant. I feel like we've kind of recreated a little bit of that,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be it's quite brief, like in terms of people's sort of input, but at least you feel like there's a community there which isn't a part of a night. It's hard to kind of talk about your artists on your own page because it just sounds like you're bigging yourselves up. So having something neutral and having a discussion on there is great, and hats off to the other people that wanted to come on board, and it good, you know, it relates back to the whole, like, you know, people in the area getting involved and kind of creating something from that cooperation, you know, instead of it just being really exclusive, because it's not about that.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Leeds drum and bass scene at the moment?
I wouldn't just say drum and bass is looking good at the moment. There's all these other subgenres, you know, and bass music in general. You know, I mean, I started, you know, playing the odd set of, you know, alternative kind of music that wasn't just drum and bass. And I just feel that across the board, Leeds is always been pretty special, and I'd say it's very healthy now.
How do you feel about the wider drum and bass scene?
It seems to come and go. There's always going to be peaks and troughs with drum and bass, but I think it's really interesting to see how, you know, there's a lot more kind of mainstream presence in a way, and there's also a lot of other DJs producing that more and more commercial sound. But I think that's good in a way, because I remember I looked back and thought, what got me into drum and bass? I had quite commercial sort of jump up jungle, but that's what got me into it. So if it wasn't for hearing something like that and fairly mainstream, I wouldn't have been getting into all the other stuff. So I think it's good to see that in a way. There's no room for hating, because if the more people get interested in that sound, instead of it just being 4/4 or whatever, then that's a great thing, you know, because they're going to find their own little route through that and maybe come to our light. We'll see, you know.
I know you're a photographer as well.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how stressed I'm feeling, you know. If I've got extra people there to help us on the night, I'll run around with the camera. You know what I mean? Again, I've got to give a shout out to Jess, because she's come down, and again, the people that have helped us start with photography and stuff have just volunteered, and I've always been really happy about that. You know, they warm to the night, they want to get involved, and I'm always grateful whenever anybody puts themselves forward like that. You know, I'm not. It's not because I'm being a tightwad. It's like literally, I can't risk sort of like going into the red too much. You know, I'm happy if the night, you know, pays for itself, and that's about it really. You know.
You got any upcoming events you want to plug?
An Om Unit and Ruckspin, another one of the original sort of residents, and that's on the bank holiday weekend, Friday the 23rd of May.
Any final words or shout-outs?
I'm going to shout out everybody that's been involved, and again, out to all the people that have volunteered, really, and out to anybody that's sort of got involved with the night. I think it's great to see how things have changed and how much people have developed as well. I think the best way to find out more, and for me not to get grief for not plugging anybody else, is to simply go to our Facebook page. That's Original CentralBeatz, and there's a Z at the end there in case you didn't know.